we go. My bad. Technical difficulties. Look, this is a live show. We will have stuff like this happen. Hopefully, not often at all. Hopefully, this is a one-time thing. OBS, it crashed. Those familiar with OBS, I guess it just does that sometimes when you got three powerhouses in here. I mean, it just happens that way.
Y'all know what that means, right? That means we got to change the platform, baby. We about to show this thing on OnlyFans, Jack. Let's go. Yes, sir. OnlyFans. Nah, hell no. We don't want no damn OnlyFans. And you know what? I don't call us content creators either. Because everybody thinks there's some we're not going out like that too.
Yeah.
No,
MRC Sports say we back. We back, baby. Don't worry, we back. Bring come back into the room. We live on the Cream City crossover. Bucks win it 146-122 over the New York Knicks. Yeah, appreciate come on back. It's like you said, Chris King got that trash internet going. What you using over there? What you using? You first.
Hey, look, it's not the Wi-Fi. It is apartment complex living though, so maybe that is the easy way out. I'll just blame it. It was the Wi-Fi. My bad.
Yeah, okay, it's all right. We all good.
If anybody has some lady friends in Orlando that know how to work the Wi-Fi, go ahead, hit Chris's DMs. See if they want to come over and help that man out.
Yeah, help my man. Help
my man out. Exactly. Right, he can't do it all. Help the man out.
I don't know how to solve router. Get down there. Go do it.
He said, "Get down there, go do it." Okay, hey, yo, it's crazy.
Okay. We gonna pause him? We not pausing him.
Crazy.
Oh, hey,
get down there, go do it.
But he didn't say it to the cable guy. He said it. Any women invited there. It's a little different.
I didn't know what I heard. My bad. Spectrum Man got there. Get down, go do it. All right.
OnlyFans, Jack. OnlyFans.
Yeah, we're off the rails coming back into it. Bucks win at 146-122. I believe when we left off, we're now part 2 of the Cream City crossover. We were talking about trades for potential Bobby Portis, trading Bobby Portis potentially, getting back Marcus Smart. I believe the last comment you made, JT, and I won't belabor the point anymore about it, but I believe your last comment was that like Marcus Smart it wasn't like it was Marcus Smart or nothing. And no, 100%. I don't think that's what it is either. It's absolutely not Marcus Smart or nothing. Like I said, there guys, Alex Caruso, Dorian Finney-Smith, which people talked about. Like you just need another wing, I think, defender who again, there's questions. And so I actually here's what I'll ask you to kind of go off of that and kind of finish that up is. Do you think you have to continue starting Malik Beasley? Like I said, let's say you trade for that wing guy, that guard type that can defend, or you think he can defend with Dame, do you move Malik Beasley out of the starting lineup and bring that guy in to play that role, or do you just change the minutes of a Malik Beasley and kind of, hey, when you does Dr. Griffin have to know when to do what, right? Does he have to know? Okay, now it's time for Malik Beasley to shoot a 3. But now we're in a moment in the game where I really need defense. Let's make the substitutions and do it that way. Is that how you feel about that?
Well, he's averaging about 30 minutes a game right now. So the question you ask is, all right, if you're gonna take him off the bench, or if you're gonna bring him off the bench, can you replicate those minutes? Right? Like, can he play 30 minutes off the bench every night? Or if he's coming off the bench, is he truly cutting minutes? You see what I'm saying? Like, what does that do to the rest of your lineup trying to get him off the bench? Because he is a volume shooter. You have to give him the rock. He has to get looks. Can't hit 6 threes for you if he can't take 10. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I do think that's the question you got to ask yourself. Having said that, they got a good thing going right now. So do you continue to bring Crowder off the bench? Right? Like I think those two pieces are interchangeable. It just depends. It depends on how that thing flows. I do think that Crowder's out 8 weeks. Right? So Crowder at 8 weeks. And then I'm assuming there's gonna be a ramp up period. A legitimate ramp up. Not a vertical ramp, but an actual ramp, right? Like right. So yeah, not level 10 of the parking garage, maybe like 3 or something. But I definitely think that there may be, so you have to see. You just to see. Right, too hard to tell at this point, but I don't think you take Malik Beasley out of the starting lineup right now. Right now, if he keeps playing like this, it's gonna be very tough to do that. Very tough to do that.
No, 100%. I agree. I don't think you take him out of the starting lineup, especially like you said. Jay's gonna have to have a ramp up, and just a guy who can consistently make threes for this team is so big. I think that's why you see such an increase, such a spike on this offensive caliber team. Like this team puts up points, and I think Malik Beasley is one of the big reasons why.
All right, JT over there yawning. Let's see his test pack. Getting bedtime. So let's go ahead and get this thing wrapped up. Let's keep rolling in the show as we finish this thing. Going to the in-season tournament. John Tyus, you have talked about how trash the tournament is. You think it's goofy. There's no reason to do it. A lot of people have shared that same sentiment, myself included. However, there seems to have been a public shift in how people feel about this tournament, and that they feel like there is some momentum, that they now like what Adam Silver's put on. They maybe now like the courts that show you that this is something new and something fresh, and they believe this has brought some juice to the regular season. How do you feel now? You've seen this play out. We're almost out of, now this is the last game of the quarterfinals. Phoenix and LA is a 6-point game, 3 minutes to go in the half. How do you feel now about the in-season tournament? Is this a success? Are you intrigued? Are you not intrigued? Do you think the players are playing hard? How do you guys feel now about what you've seen from the in-season tournament?
Yeah, so listen.
Give me 180.
I like the idea. I think that, you got the jerseys and the courts are cool, and I think the NBA has done a good job of saying to its stars over the last couple of weeks, hey, act like you care about this. Please, right? Can you guys please act like you care at all about this, right? Side note, Giannis tonight claimed he didn't even know what the prize money number was. So, gotta wonder how authentic these comments are about, the tournament and everything else too. So I think everybody's doing their part. And look, I think it may be very good for the fans. Having said that, my position has not changed. I don't care at all about this damn tournament, because at the end of the day, all I care about is another Larry O'Brien. That's all I care about. I care less about this tournament at all. Big deal if you win it. Clap. Look, take your money, get your money. Good, right? Get your money. Fortunately, you get a game check anyway. So what? You get an extra game, or extra for Giannis. It might actually be just an extra game check, but. For some of these guys, great. You win $500,000 is absolutely wonderful. As a Bucks fan that wants to see this team win another championship and maximize Giannis' window, I don't care at all about this tournament.
Take a step back from your perspective from the Bucks. My question now is, from a pure basketball perspective, has this been good for the league? Sure, right? Yeah, no. And I say sure, right, because you have the players getting excited about it. You got the fans maybe getting excited about it, right? I don't think this. Look, this isn't. Hey, coach, we were going to fire you, but you won the in-season tournament, so hey, that's showing some promise for the next year, right? Like I don't. I mean, okay, I don't know. It's good for the league because it's something to look forward to. Having said that, if this is something to combat the player rest nights and all of that stuff, good luck, because the reality of it is that stuff usually starts after January.
Right.
Okay. Chris?
I think that it's all right. Like, when you see stuff like what the Pacers were able to do last night, like, that's kind of cool. But outside of that, like, it's not that intriguing to me. I don't really find joy in this midseason tournament when the Larry O'Brien has been so important for since it was introduced. Like the value of winning the in-season tournament, it might be good for the players. I don't necessarily think the fans are going to be that hyped up about it unless you are a team like a Pacers or whatever, like a young team that needs to get some experience in playoff ball or whatever. So I think it is just a money grab, and I think it's been successful in some ways, but I don't necessarily think as an NBA fan, I don't think it's that intriguing to me now.
That's interesting. I think a lot of people have taken the other direction, the other route on that, about how intriguing it has been. I will say I thought the Indiana stuff the other night was cool. I thought it was good. And again, we talked about it a little bit. I thought that was a great moment. This is a great moment for these type of teams. I think the question is going to be, over the next 3, 4, 5 years, how will it look then? Will those same teams be as intrigued? Will they still, give a damn about this. I don't know. We'll see if that $500,000 what it really means. I think for year one, it has done what it needed to do. It gave some juice to the regular season. So I'll give the league some credit for implementing this and putting it in. I'm not against it. Again, now from a Milwaukee Bucks fan perspective, yeah, this doesn't mean anything. If you lose to Indiana in Vegas, doesn't mean anything. I think one of the great things is maybe that you don't have to play an extra game against Boston, but who knows? Maybe you want to play an extra game against Boston, which again, that was the consolation prize for the New York Knicks losing tonight is they got to go to Boston and play on the road. Bucks again are going to Vegas to play the Indiana Pacers. Some numbers on Malik Beasley from Bobby Marks 42. Bobby Marks says his effective field goal percentage. He's first and in as a shooting guard and 8th among all players. He is the 3rd best field goal percentage among shooting guards in the entire NBA. He is the 5th highest shooting percentage from 3-point from a shooting guard in the entire NBA. And his contract tied for 354th, ranks dead last for all starting shooting guards. So what it lets you know is Malik Beasley 100% is putting up some efficient numbers. He's shooting the ball well, and he's on an absolutely low contract that means that it's basically next to nothing. So the Bucks absolutely getting their money's worth out of Malik Beasley. Eli J on the chat says no question the in-season tournament is good for the NBA. Games are far more competitive. Courts are cool. More fans attending the in-season tournament games. So you got Eli J who actually was just at the game and he enjoyed it and said this is the blowout fans have been waiting for. And it happened in an important game. Last question on the in-season tournament I'm going to ask you guys before we move on and look around, the world in sports, is, a question about this game that's coming up on Thursday evening. And again, I think the thing that sucks about it is the timing of it. It's going to be a 5:00 Eastern game, 4:00 Central, and 2:00 in Vegas. I don't know what the hell the league was thinking scheduling it during the middle of the day like that. That doesn't make any sense. But how big a game is this? You saw what the Indiana fans, what it meant to them, and what it seemed like it meant to that basketball team. Are the Bucks? Again, I think the competition is going to be high. How hard and what type of level do you expect to see from the Milwaukee Bucks come Thursday evening out in the desert?
So I think the only thing I want to see is the Bucks get out there and compete. Right? It's a game with stakes on it. Literally, there are technical stakes on this.
It's a regular season game.
It's a regular season game. It's a regular season game, right? But it's a tournament, right? So it's amplified. Listen, I want to see him compete. I want to see him, definitely rise to the occasion and handle business because I think this Indiana team is sneaky good. I think they're going to be very good. I told you guys before, I think they're going to be a top 5 seed in the East this year if this keeps up. But having said that, I want to see him compete. I want to see him win. If we lose, I'm not going to lose any sleep about it.
Yeah, and this will be the first time Dame played against the Pacers with Giannis, so that'll be interesting. Giannis gave Miles Turner the work like he was his son. So I think you add Dame to that fold, and you probably beat him. You should beat him, I think. And, it's a team where you're going to have to lock down. You're going to have to play defense in transition. It's a team that scores the ball well. So if they can do that and they defend like they did in the second half today, I think they should win this one.
Okay, so let's break this thing down. Do you have the Bucks beating Indiana? Again, this is a bracket. Tournament's in play. Do you have the Bucks beating the Pacers on Thursday night in Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would 100% do.
Okay, so this is the semis, and the Bucks will advance, and they will take on either the Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, or the New Orleans Pelicans if they could beat Indiana in the finals. Again, that finals game on Saturday, I believe, will not count as a regular season game. So the Bucks will end up playing 83 regular season games. Let's take a look around the rest of the sports world here. The only 2 games on. I think the cool thing about tonight, you look at these semis, these quarterfinal games, only 2 games on. So, you get top billing. The Bucks win 146-122 over the New York Knicks, and the LA Lakers are up 59-47 over the Phoenix Suns right now. That game is at the half. The couple things we'll talk about in the sports. Did you see LeBron James? Him and Ime Udoka getting at it. Ime Udoka said he was crying like a little bitch, and then
I absolutely love it. I love to see it. I 100% love to see it. LeBron James. Why I love it. You know why I love to see this from Udoka. because you can be King James, you can be an NBA icon, you can have this global impact, but you can still get this work. And I absolutely love Udoka taking that approach. I
You like a coach
100%.
talking to a player like that?
Yeah, absolutely, because players talk to coaches like that. And quite honestly, I love the fact that he didn't back down. Like, what's up then? Right? You're not about to sit up here and walk around me. Listen, you don't think LeBron James maybe has cries to the ref over the history of his career more than any basketball player I've ever seen.
Sure.
And Chris Paul is a close second. I've never seen anything like it, right? Like LeBron James is that's all that he yes. So you know what? Look, if you want to step up, if you want to walk up on, if you want to come at me, I'm coming at you. I'm not cowering down. I'm not backing down to you. We can do this. And I love that energy from Udoka. And I hope more players have that energy. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it was kind of childish for both of them, from both sides. Like, realistically, none of them were going to do anything, because when is a coach ever going to fight a player? It's not going to happen. They weren't going to let that happen. They just a bunch of tough talking from some old dudes, like old heads. Like,
isn't that all basketball fights? Some dudes are soft. They're not going to swing on nobody.
Yeah,
isn't that all basketball fights?
Saying. Like, so even Ime replying like, "Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?" Ime, nothing. They're not going to do it. They're not going to lose. Ime's not going to lose his job over a fight on the court with LeBron James. So
bet he wouldn't lose his job if he swung on him. Bet he wouldn't lose his job if he swung on him.
Yeah, I mean, Bron wouldn't do that either. So it's
right.
It goes both ways. Like, these two dudes, like, it was a pointless argument to me. I guess Ime trying to set a standard for his young team that's probably not going to be good ever. I guess. I mean, he went to the.
Comport yourself, sir. Comport yourself.
You got a guy from the G League Ignite running the show. It's nah. So, but I do think, you know, it is a situation where Ime is just trying to light a fire into his team as well. So, I mean, I could see it from that angle. In the post-game press conference, he talked about, oh, we got punked by a team that's not known for punking anybody. So, yeah, I mean, I see it in that aspect. But other than that, I thought it was very immature and stupid.
Did you see what Shannon Sharp said he would have said if he was LeBron? He just said, "Oh, you calling me that? You need to control yours." He had the issue out in Boston.
listen. Udoka is a great coach. He's a great coach, right? Because you can't do what he was doing in Boston. It's like, right. Come on, man, you can't do that. But he is a great coach. And you know, he felt man's got some issues. Let's put it like that. He's got some issues.
Okay.
Everything goes off the rails with us. That's fair, guys. I don't.
Gabe Hutton said Tyrese is the MVP candidate. Gonna have to trap him or something to get him to play ball. It'd be interesting to see what the Bucks do. So I think Tyrese Halliburton lit him up last time they were in Indiana, and again that game was in Indy. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what the Bucks do to try to slow him down and stop him. He has a real funky jump shot that somehow goes in. He absolutely is an MVP candidate right now. He's playing some real good ball. So we'll see what the Bucks do to try to stop him. Last thing, we saw what happened with the with the College Football Playoffs Committee. A lot of arguments went back and forth about how that should go. It ended up going a little bit different, I think, than everybody said. You know, it ended up being Alabama gets in, Florida State out, and then you had Washington, Michigan, and Texas gets in as well. So I think any real quick, any issues you have with the committee making the decision to leave? What's like I said, to leave out Georgia and Florida State?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm a punt to our college athletics expert, and then I'm going to give my feedback.
So I understand why they did it. I think in terms of, you know, Florida State, you barely put up any points against the Louisville team that's not very great. A Louisville team that hasn't really beat anybody outside of, you know, good win in Notre Dame. But other than that, they've had some bad losses as well. Lost to Pitt. Like, this was a struggling Louisville team and a struggling FSU team. And so the committee watches that, and what do they think? They think back to last year in the national title when TCU gets absolutely boat raced by an SEC team that we clearly probably knew was going to happen. And so I think they did a little bit of foreshadowing, and you know, the real test will be that Georgia versus Florida State game. You know, if Georgia's able to just they'll be able to control the narrative behind this. Georgia will be able to shut up everybody who's a Seminole fan and FSU fan, and so yeah, I think I don't necessarily know if it's the right thing. I personally would have let him in just because 13-0 in the Power 5, but Georgia didn't deserve to be in either. They looked kind of rough all year and had slow starts versus bad teams. I think Alabama was playing better football towards the end. And, Texas gets in as well. I think it just proves that, hey, those head-to-head games matter, and that's why they got in as well. So, yeah, I think the committee did what they did for basically entertainment, and they wanted to be as competitive as possible. Can't blame them.
And to be fair, I think this is the best example of competitive balance that we have probably seen in a playoff recently, right? If you look at the 4 teams that made it. And one thing I do want to emphasize, though, the selection committee selects the teams, and they use a process, right? I'm reading this thing here, that distinguishes a process distinguishes among otherwise comparable teams by considering conference championships won, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, comparative outcomes of common opponents, and the most important thing, the last prong, other relevant factors such as the unavailability of key players and coaches that may have affected a team's performance during the regular season or will likely affect its postseason performance. Listen, Florida State went 13-0. Congratulations to them, right? But we all knew that this Florida State team, after the quarterback got injured, was not going to be that great. And truth be told, I agree. They get absolutely boat race if they do make the playoffs. And I'm not about moral victories. I'm not about morally what's right when it comes to sports, right? Listen, at the end of the day, you have 4 teams that make the playoffs. They are supposed to be the best teams in the country. Florida State, was playing in the ACC, right? Good job, guys. Go beat Wake Forest every weekend. Go beat up on Syracuse, right? If you get really excited, go pick up Pitt, right? Go beat up on Pitt. Florida State was playing relatively weak Boston College. Florida State was playing relatively weak competition all year. Yes, they were undefeated. Yes, they were the conference champion. Yes, they were 13-0. But at the end of the day, this team still is not the same caliber as the other teams in the playoffs. So, unfortunately, what they probably should have done was drop them in the playoff rankings in the college football playoff rankings. They should have dropped them after the quarterback went out so that they didn't give the illusion that Florida State was going to maybe be a top 4 team. They just should have went ahead and had it, kept them right there around 7 or 8 the whole time. And then everybody would have said, well, here's where they're at.
So let me ask you this. Go ahead, Chris.
And I mean, you talk about the Boston Colleges of the world, the Clemsons of the world right now. That's bad. That was a team.
I didn't say Clemson. Clemson was a decent team. Boston College is trash.
But I'm just saying. But here's the thing. They barely beat those 2 schools with Jordan Travis. They beat Boston College by 2 points. They should have lost to Clemson with a missed field goal, and then they went into overtime and ended up beating them. Look, this wasn't even a great team before Jordan Travis went out.
True.
So I'm trying to get this straight. I'll say this. If Florida State beats Georgia, right, because that's the bowl game they matched up in, do they have claim? Because I just say, you didn't allow me to play for it. If I'm Florida State, I'm putting a banner up. We were national champions. If I beat Georgia, I put a banner up because I never got out. Again, it's a long tell. I don't think they're gonna beat them. I don't think they're gonna beat Georgia. But if they do, I'm putting a banner up. Everybody's getting rings. What's
they gonna be Georgia in badminton?
But
I'm just
saying. Anything can
horseshoes.
I'm just saying. Anything can happen. If they beat them, that's my last question.
No,
if they beat them,
Trey,
can they lay claim to national?
No.
Why can't they?
No.
You didn't let them in.
No.
This ain't like
we saw UCF do that, and does that hold any weight to this day?
We're gonna make our own banner, and we're gonna make our own rings, and we're gonna make our own trophy. What is that?
No, we should have just let Liberty in. We should have just let Liberty in the playoffs this year because they were undefeated.
No, this is Power 5. I'm laying claim to the Natty if I'm Florida State and I beat Georgia in the bowl game. Okay, and then last thing, did you see this? NCAA President Charlie Baker has proposed a rule change that will allow D1 schools for the first time to pay their athletes in ways that are not tied to educational resources. The proposed changes were in a letter sent to member schools that if they choose to adopt those rules, they'd be allowed to enter NIL deals directly with their athletes which would also create a new subdivision of D1 schools that would be allowed to create its own set of rules for recruiting, transfers, roster size, and a wide range of other policies. To be a part of that subdivision, each school would have to put millions of dollars each year into a trust fund for athletes. This will bring major change to the foundational tenet of the NCAA's long-held business model that prevented schools from providing any non-academic based compensation to athletes. Baker said that the change was necessary during a time when the revenue generated by top colleges is poised to grow significantly, and the legal pressure to compensate athletes continues to mount. How do you guys feel about that?
Again, kicking it to our relative college of sports expert,
Well,
Chris King
I
first.
do have a gripe with this because at the end of the day, this is just I feel like just more and more of a money grab and focusing on Power 5 schools, and they're trying to fix stuff that's not broken, right? And this is dumb. I think the schools that have more resources will benefit tremendously, but it could ruin a sport like college basketball where you have mid-majors who aren't necessarily looked at it as a team that or as a program that can compete with the big dogs, but then they get and go play 40 minutes of basketball and they go do it. This is more geared towards football, and I hate it because both sports and really all college sports are awesome in their own right. So I think they're trying to do too much. They're trying to be more advanced than they need to be. It's stupid.
I agree with you. I think this is problematic, right? Because here's the thing: even your BCS schools, your FBS school, BCS, your FBS schools, they can't all afford it, right? Mm-hmm. Kansas State can't play. Kansas State is probably not going to be able to pay a player what Ole Miss can. Tennessee is not going to. Tennessee is going to be able to play a player much more than a Washington State could, right? So that's the first issue. I think the second issue is, again, I would say from a legal perspective, okay, well, how does this work for public and private schools, right? Because if you're at a public school and you're getting paid essentially a salary now, are you a state employee? Well, if so, okay, well, then what are the requirements of that? How does all that stuff work? So that's kind of my issue with that. The third thing I have, though, is, look, I'm all for players getting paid. Pay them. But here's what I think you should do if you want to try to preserve amateurism, which I'm not sure is a real thing at this point. Why not have that trust for the players, and they receive their funds when they graduate or when their eligibility expires or when they decide to forfeit the remainder of their eligibility? So if a player's making, and that could be for NIL, revenue sharing, or anything. So if a player's making $1 million a season on an NIL deal, why you say, okay, you can make all this money, and once you forfeit your eligibility or graduate, or go pro, whatever that is, you can have all this money for you, right? Like, why not do something like that if you want to try to preserve amateurism to an extent?
Right. I mean, no, I agree. I think that would be a good change to it. But at the end of the day, like I said, trying to fix stuff that's not broken, don't do it.
True.
All right, we'll leave it there for the Cream City crossover. You look around sports. The Bucks are winners tonight. John Tyus, Chris King. It was a fun game. Quarterfinals of the tournament. Finishes up 146-122. Milwaukee Bucks are winners. Any final words?
Man, I'll see y'all Thursday.
Yep, Thursday. Let's get it. It'll be fun.
Hopefully Thursday night. Yeah, Bucks are gonna do battle in Las Vegas with against the Indiana Pacers. It's gonna be fun. We'll see what happens then. Like I said, I think there's gonna be a lot of juice. We'll see what kind of fans are people traveling to Vegas. Are you getting out to Vegas trying to watch the Milwaukee Bucks? Are you already Milwaukee Bucks fans in Vegas or close? We'll see how it looks. It's gonna be fun. A lot of eyes gonna be on this thing for the Bucks. Again, again, last I said, I hope that they're. I think there's been a lot of naysayers in the national media as well who have been echoing some of the sentiments from some of the people who were like Fire Griff and that type of thing. And so I hope you're watching this and you're choking on those words and you're watching. It's like, man, I don't know why we started doing that. The Bucks are now 15-6, looking like one of the best teams in basketball, and they're also meaningless tournament or what have you. The Bucks are there, and the Boston Celtics are not. The Philadelphia 76ers are not. The rest, right now, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers are the cream of the crop, and that's what you're seeing. And yeah, we'll just see how this thing turns out. Want to see, like I said, you're already in it. You might as well go get the $500,000. Might as well go ahead and get the win. Let's get out of here. This has been a Cream City Media Group production. Again, this is part 2, so we'll kind of figure out how we do the YouTube stuff on that. Like, subscribe, all that. And yeah, from the Guru Trey Crosby III,
JT,
Chris King.
we'll see you Thursday. Don't take no